This is Jermaine.
And this is BD Eastern. So, it's kind of like a new podcast, I guess, in a
Yeah.
way.
New beginnings.
Yeah, so we decided that we're going to go with just a straightforward one topic approach, and we chose parenting for this one. Definitely a divisive topic, but we're kind of similar in age.
Yeah.
Like 10 years between us, kind of.
If you don't mind me asking, like, did you like when you thought of this topic to
Yeah.
yourself? Did you know like how did it come about? Like, I mean,
It was Tiff. Tiff mentioned the topic, and like,
Yeah,
we
that's
could
a good one.
definitely,
yeah,
because I mean, you can go the past, the present, the future,
yeah,
and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. So,
yeah.
I guess we don't really need much of a lead-in. We already have the topic, so let's kind of shoot. So, me myself, I was raised by my grandparents, and that generational gap. I mean, you're missing that, normal, rebellious. I mean, you're not missing it; but they're just getting it, and it's a different generational rebellion.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a trip for him a little bit, and it was far from rambunctious, but you have your normal hormonal teen thing going on, and they're used to what they used to deal with when they were, when they were parents, I guess. And
Yeah.
it was a whole different monster. So,
So did
yeah.
you feel like? I mean, when you were being raised, or like, you can't really see what's happening as it's happening, but when you step
Right.
back and take a look at it from a large scale view, do you feel like you were raised with a generational gap? Do you think that, you were raised maybe a little harsher because of the grandparents as opposed to maybe a direct parent? Or
I mean, define harsher, right? Like, it's one of those things where I'm a bit of a militant person in the parenting stratosphere, and I probably got from that. I always kind of make the joke, but it's not really a joke. I didn't know you can use a wooden spoon for cooking until I was about 12. So, I got my ass beat, but you know what? I in hindsight, like you said, you look back and it's kind of the psychology of it, right? Like, I didn't do what I got a whooping for. I didn't do that again because in my, whatever year old brain, I had enough wherewithal to realize, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna do that thing again because I got beat and that wasn't good. wasn't worth the consequence. So I'm not gonna do that.
no, I mean, so the whooping is what taught you. I mean, it's not one of those things where you did wrong and you probably don't want to do that again because it's not good for you in the future, or did the whooping just set the tone that, hey, I'm not going to do that again because I don't want to get whooped again?
So I would say by proxy, it kind of did that. It was more of the lesson learned, but the lesson learned was initiated by the. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like as soon as I did something, I got the boots put to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that. But you're told once, you're told twice, and you don't get told 3 times. You find out at the 3rd time.
You don't discover the 3rd time. Like, you don't get a chance to.
Yeah, that's told to you. But I never harbored any resentment or, oh, you're not treating me like a person. No, it was literally like, okay, yeah, this is kind of how it was, and
Yeah.
I'm cool with it, I guess. I don't know. It just,
I mean,
I'm not sitting here saying go throw hands with your kids, but I'm also, not gonna, call CYS because you laid hands on your kiddo. Like, if within reason, obviously.
I mean, just my not understanding, but my observation from parenting. Let's start from anywhere from, let's say, 1920s. Okay, pretty much. I mean, of course, none of us was around in the 1920s.
I mean, you may have.
I might have been.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that the pattern it was way harsher. And when you say define harsher, I mean more whoopings involved.
Right.
A lot of, come from a pretty much, I mean, and it's in the Bible. A lot of, I came up in a religious, Christian home. And in the Bible, there is a specific scripture or a specific passage that says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Right.
And a lot of, parents and a lot of, grandparents or people that were, heavily religious believed wholeheartedly in that statement.
I mean, I grew up in a similar household, so yeah.
So it's like one of those things where I'm pretty sure generations in the 20s was a lot harsher than generations in the 40s.
Right.
And then in the 60s, it seems like as the years went on, the harshness grew less. It was less chastising as the 20, because a generation is pretty much 20 years, correct? I mean, would you consider that like a?
I can't like bet that.
I mean, it's not
about right.
A universal. I mean, it's not a universal amount of time, and it's not written in stone. But most people kind of refer to a certain generation.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
20 years.
I'll go 20, 25. I'll go with
about 25. Yeah, maybe. So as the years go on, it's less and less harsh.
Right.
And I say to myself, is that because of how bad you may have been chastised? And then when you come up and then you have your children, you say to yourself, I don't want my child going through or experiencing the chastisement that I got. So we go easier on them. And does it cater to, does it breed more rebellion? I mean, does it, like, you got children that are, I mean, going to the grocery store and seeing a mother and their child in 2023 is a hell of a lot different than going to the grocery store in 1980, 1990 and seeing the mother and her child in the grocery store.
So let me touch on a few things here. So I think the general kind of rule of thumb as a parent is you want your child to have a better life than you did.
Yeah.
And that can be construed a bunch of different ways. So that may kind of coincide with the whole, my dad beat me, I'm not going to beat you type of thing.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, obviously there are those other circumstances where it gets more extreme, where my dad beat me, so I'm just going to damn near kill you type of thing. Because that definitely happens.
Yes.
I think that, I don't know how much it has to do with maybe people having kids younger.
True.
I don't know how if that kind of falls into play anywhere, if that makes a difference or what. But I mean, Jesus, I mean,
like I stated before, when you're going through it, you don't understand the reasoning behind it.
Right.
But now that I step back, am I a better man because I was chastised?
I mean,
it's kind of a mixed bag there, because some parts of me say yes, because otherwise I would have been wild, or I could be dead or in jail because I was allowed to run wild.
Right.
And then there's another part of me that says, it was a little too harsh. I mean, just to give you a recap of my childhood, I mean, I was beat religiously. And I didn't get that third time.
Right.
I was beat on that first time it happened. And it's like,
I don't agree with that part. That's a little.
Put it this way, and I'm not trying to shame my parents or anything like that, but in today's world, the way I was raised and the way I was chastised and given whippings, today's world, they would probably be going up against a CYS case for some type of abuse. It would.
Well, let's be honest. In today's kind of society, you could yell at your child and probably get your kid taken away from you. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like in today's world, you got people that's sitting up there trying to butt in if you try to chastise your child in the grocery store. Oh, don't talk to him like that. And then you turn it. You're going to have an argument with that person because you're like, don't you tell me how to raise my child.
When you look at them, I'll fucking choke slam you. Get away from me. Yeah, that. Like I said, man, it's tough. Like, it is a real small line in the sand where, you are quote unquote disciplining your kid, and then it can be construed as abuse.
Yeah.
And that line is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And once again, I'm not sitting here advocating, hey, punch your kid. No, I'm not saying that. Now, with that being said, if they get mouthy and they're big enough to get throat punched, hey, it is what it is. Throw hands. Let's go.
Yeah.
But I think that every parent has the ability, they should have the ability, or at least they extrapolate. I said that word wrong. It's fine. It's somewhat late. From their parents certain things, because that was their point. Like, the parents' point was to mold you into something that resembles not a serial killer or a rapist. Like,
it's supposed to be in the long run for the better good of you as a man or woman.
Right.
I mean, it's
it's
supposed to help you.
How many times have you found yourself quoting your parents on accident?
Plenty.
And you're just like, and you just have that. Like, the first time you do it, you're like, "Oh shit!
Did I just sound like my parents?
Where did I hear that from?" And then you realize you're like, "Oh, Dad."
Those are some of those moments that you realize, like, man, I'm getting up there because, like, with just music in general, when you hear this new music and you're talking to some younger people and you say to them, y'all don't know what music is, and then you hear a song you're familiar with, and you're like, yeah, that's real music. And then I remember I caught myself saying that, like, dang, here I am sounding just like the old heads of yesteryear that was telling me, yeah, that's real music, So
5 minutes later, you're yelling at him, to get off your lawn. So, yeah, I mean,
but back to the parenting thing, it's like one of those things where another thing that happened maybe 1950 and up, all the way to probably maybe the 2000s, was there was a not a cliche, but there was a understanding that the community was supposed to help in raising kids. So you would not only get chastised by not only your physical parents, you can get chastised by a neighbor.
Literally and figuratively, you got your ass whooped down the street.
Yeah.
and your end game was Dad, and he's like,
I mean, I grew up in elementary school, and the teachers were allowed to paddle you.
Yeah, man, I had nuns. Nuns are like basically MMA fighters at this point.
Yeah, I mean, some of harshest, paddles I've gotten was either from the vice principal or a teacher. I mean, and I had a type of dad that during the parent teacher conference, he would encourage it, like almost like how today's world, if you even yell at somebody's child, you're in the you could be in a fist fight, or you're about to fight the parent. Don't touch my child. But my dad would come to the school and encourage it. He would tell teachers that didn't even think about paddling me to paddle me. He would be like, and if you ever get out of line, you make sure you handle him. I'm like, really? You just gave him free reign? Like now that teacher's looking at me like, if you sneeze sideways, I'm going to paddle you.
Right. I'm going to take my day out on you. Let's go.
Yeah. And it's like, that was like a community raising you. And then, but as the years go on, it's more and more, don't touch my child.
So,
and are the children going wild because of it?
So let me ask you this kind of two-part question here. So, as a parent yourself, right?
Yes.
Are you same situation, are you going to say to the principal, yeah, get him? Like if he gets out of line.
I would never probably go that far as to give free reign.
And I know that. I knew the answer to that. Here's the second part of the question. Why? What changed? Like, what changed in us as a people that your dad was like, yeah, whoop his ass. He gets out of line, get him. But now, it's you. As a dad.
I mean,
like, what changed?
Society is a lot different. People are a lot more crazier, deranged. They got mental cases. It's not saying that people weren't always crazy.
Crazy ain't new.
People always been crazy. It's just that it's more. It's people are more aware of people's illnesses or there's more quote unquote mental disorders or some type of where somebody's thrown off. Whereas people probably in the community were a little bit more trusting of individuals to deal with their child because these illnesses or these people in society that may go too far, they weren't pointed out.
You end up being on a true crime podcast, right? Okay. No, okay. Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that, but that makes sense.
It's just like it just seems like there are more. There's more light on it. I mean I hate to just pivot to a whole different subject, which we can take for another day, but the police brutality. As far as police brutality with black males, and there is going with this. Like last summer, I know, or even over the past 5 years, it seemed like every day or every other day there was another police incident where someone was getting killed by the police. Police brutality has been going on since the slave days. It's just that it's more readily available to see with camera phones and social media and people capturing it. These black men have continued to be brutalized by the police force. But people are just seeing it more.
I don't think that was a word, man.
Brutalized?
Yeah,
I think just make that
brutalized.
Brutalized.
Probably the more
police brutality, and then I just added it to turned it into a verb.
Well, that's what people in Pittsburgh do. That we do like to make up words. It's kind of our thing, but we also do like to kind of point it out and be like, I may put that in my dictionary. Brutalized.
So, I mean, just to equate that to the parenting and stuff, it's just things, people are more aware of things going on in society because there's more light being shed on it. Right. It's not like it wasn't always there. It's just like, I don't know if I even trust teachers to put their hands on my child at this point. But, I don't know. My children personally,
like, they couldn't do it anyway nowadays.
Yeah, like they don't even have. They barely can tell these children that they have detention without some type of scrape up.
I don't even think you can give them an F in classes anymore.
Like No Child Left Behind type thing or something.
Yeah, like you can't say you failed because it's going to hurt their little feelings.
And is this producing first of all, they're not getting chastised. Is this producing? And then I put the quotes around soft. Is this producing a softer individual because you can't offend anyone. You can't do anything to anyone at this point.
So let's kind of transition into kind of how we currently parent.
Okay.
So you have what ages?
I have a daughter that's now 23, and I have a son that's 16.
Okay.
But with my daughter, maybe I never really put my hands on my children because I don't know if maybe my voice just raising helped them get the point. Yeah. I didn't have to. Like my daughter, maybe when she was 2 or 3, I probably slapped her a couple times on the legs because she was crying too much or something like that, or she did something. But that's the only my son, I don't recall ever putting my hands on him. I mean, because my son is very, very obedient. It seems like he gets good grades in school. He's always he's always in cooperation. Like he never really puts up a lot of rebellion.
Right. So, all right, what do you do with your kid? Like, what now that you've gotten whatever lessons you got as a kid, what have you taken from your childhood, or not taken, or how do you raise your kid? This is probably the best way to put it.
Pretty much to be open, to be honest. Try to exude certain characteristics. The honesty thing is huge, because no one likes a liar. So I try to, I try not to sugarcoat things, even though it might sound or come off as harsh. Like, I just let them know right out, like, hey, I probably shouldn't be telling you this at this age, but I am going to tell you because I just want to keep it real with you. To be honest, the video games because he loves video games, he plays, on the PlayStation and stuff like that, and those things they pretty much teach. They pretty much teach like things that maybe you didn't go over. Like, sometimes, the video games might be a little bit too vulgar sometimes, but it's one of those things where it's not so detrimental to their learning that you tell them, oh, you can't play this game. Like the Call of Duties and the Grand Theft Autos. I mean, they kind of go over the top with some of those, curse words or some of those cut scenes and stuff like that. But if it's going to help him learn and adjust to the world, because let's be honest, kids in high school and kids in any school, kids are harsh. They will say, like, kids, they don't have a filter. And I don't want him to hear something from another child and then be, devastated and be or cry or something, and then make himself look even more silly. And then now people are making fun of him because he cried because somebody called him something.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
So, like, you and your, like, how do you raise yours? How do you?
So I kind of.
And have you ever had to put your hands or chastise?
Oh, I've clotheslined Will in the store. Like,
you said clothesline.
Yeah, I absolutely clotheslined him. Yeah, he liked to run around stores as a little kid, and like one day he just did it. I'm like, you're not listening, so I just kind of caught him. He just come around the corner. He didn't run around no more. So I kind of live a little bit by the motto of life is hard to get a helmet, and
life is hard to get a helmet.
Like, there is that part of it too where, life doesn't care about you. It
doesn't have time to slow down for you. It doesn't have time to let you adjust to your feelings, and it doesn't have time for you to tell it it's not fair.
Right, because life isn't fair. That's a saying, because it's a saying, not because it's, a catchy little catchphrase. No, it's,
yeah.
It really does not care. And it sounds brutal, but you don't have a silver spoon, man. Like, you're not going to have this, everything is laid out for you. You have to work for it. And even if you did, I'd make you work for it.
So you reinforce that message that life is doesn't care for you, and you better be prepared, be ready.
Yes, be prepared, ready, be smart about it, have a plan, see the forest for the trees, all these other,
cliches,
but they fit.
Yeah.
And what I don't want him to do, or either one of them, I got the 17 and the 13 one.
Yeah.
17 one, he's pretty good, man. He's kind of on his way. He's not going to be, I think he's going to be prepared and not going to fall on his face. And I'm working with the other one, and, it's a little tougher because he's a little immature for his age, but, it's what Rome wasn't built in a day. It's just cliche day here, apparently. Usually I'm the analogy guy because I'm just pivoting to
cliches
here. I just want him to not even just about him, just in general, just be responsible. Be responsible. Have initiative.
I mean, it's one of those things where I say to myself, when your child does grow up and be able to have reasonable thoughts and think, do you want your child to look at you as a parent and say, my dad or my mom never touched me, and they never gave me really any advice or chastisement, and now that I'm getting this, learning my lesson through the world and the harshness of people that is not my family member, wouldn't that child be more pissed off than a parent that did teach them? It might have been harsh lessons at the time, but that kid is growing up like, I'm glad my dad told me to be prepared for the rough people in life that I'm going to encounter. You know what I mean? Like,
when you're at home, you have that soft landing, you know. And I've reinforced that too. Like, look, here's where you get to make your mistakes. This is where you get to have those mulligans, and you don't have to like face consequences in correlation to like real life consequences. You're not gonna.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying you're like free reign to murder people, but
anything that you're telling them to help them, like you're letting them know, I'm doing this because I love you, kid, and I'm doing this because
I probably fucked up this way too when I was younger. And I would like you to not do that.
Yeah, and like you said,
reinforces.
They know the intent is that you love them.
Right.
When they encounter that, when they encounter that same instance in the world, that person behind the other end don't give a fuck about them.
Right. Like, they don't love them. They don't care about them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to see. Like you said, it's funny because you get to, as a parent, you get to kind of step back from yourself and try to put yourself in their situation, but it's super hard because you're a parent and you're generally always frustrated.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to get locked, and I do that all the time. I get pissed off real quick, real easy for really like simple little things that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But as in my parent brain, I'm like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? This doesn't make any sense. But then I forget, oh, you're still an idiot. You don't know what you're doing yet. So this is why you're doing it.
Young and exploratory, like you wanted to explore and find things out. And like from an old adult aspect, you're like, why would you do that? Like, but you got to think. I mean, you're a curious guy.
Yeah, and you know, just to kind of touch on this little thing here too. Not for nothing, Tiff is a badass mom. She's real good. She is very good at what she does. The only thing that we really ever really have a scuffle about is our parenting style. So I am militant, and she is very, I guess, easygoing. And it's kind of an oil and water kind of thing. And, you know, sometimes like the discipline thing does not really go in my head the way I think it should go.
Yeah.
And obviously on her side, same thing. And that's a hard thing to kind of deal with, because each person thinks they're right, and who knows, man? Like, there's no blueprint or book for parenting. I always think it's funny. You see, like, oh, I'm a parenting expert. No, you're a dickhead. There's no parenting expert. There's no way to. Every kid is different. Every kid is built different. Every parent is built different. You know, they're upbringing. There's so many variables that if you seriously think you can come across and tell people you're some kind of parenting expert, then I have swampland to sell you in Florida.
Well, you know who's selling books of being a parenting experts? People that aren't parents.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same thing as people that love kids. It's the same people that love kids that don't have kids.
It's
like, okay, yeah, I'm going to take your advice.
But no, you bring up a good point, because I can't believe we're just now getting to this point in the conversation as far as the co-parenting,
Right.
and because you got kids that definitely, and I know I've tried it. You get one parent to try to play the other. I mean, like, Mom, can I go outside? No.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Dad, can I go outside? And he says yes. And then they're trying to play off each other. Now,
You know how I know you're old? Because your kids asked you to go outside. That shit don't happen now.
yeah, true.
But
yeah.
no. So I just wanted to make a little wisecrack. But yeah, no, you're,
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, I mean, they don't even want to go outside anymore.
can I go in the game?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we used to play them against. I mean, you didn't get away with it too much because you probably got away with it maybe once or twice, and then
Right.
Dad caught on, and then he would either you got beat for it, or because you tried to play one against the other, or the dad would wise up and be like, "Go ask your mother." You're like, God damn it, I'm right back where I started.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah, luckily the kids here, they don't really do it. Generally speaking, it's like, hey, can I go do this? I don't give a shit. Yeah, go. I mean,
Yeah.
when you go. It's fine. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they're not gonna. I'm lucky. I got good kids, man. They're good
Same.
kids, and they're not gonna ask to do something stupid or do something kind of like deceitful because I will put them in the dryer. So no, I mean they're respectful and they're smart. It's not.
And then, like
Like,
you
if
said,
they're
the
gonna-
different styles. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's not just you and Tiff. I mean, most men are a little bit more rough,
around
more
the edges,
militant,
yeah.
little. This is it. No ifs,
Right.
ands, or buts. And the mom is a little less, harsh. She's always trying to see the better. Take it easy on them. I mean, there's been times that me and my child's mother would I would say it's this way, and I don't care how harsh it may sound, but it's for their own good.
Right.
And she would come back, well, you're yelling or you're doing this, and then it almost would turn into an argument between me and her. So
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah,
I would
and
just
that's-
stay out of it. Like, it got to a
Right.
point where it's like I became that dad that said, just go ask your mother, because I'm not trying to argue
Right.
with you and her.
Picking your battles.
Yeah,
And that
that's right.
sucks. It ends up being not about the kiddo anymore. It's about like I don't want to deal with your, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look. Once again, it's real. It's real kind of subjective how you do the whole parenting thing, and I can't say it again. I can't say it enough, man. Like Tiff is so fucking good at being a mom. She treats these kids. She does so much. Like I kind of want her to adopt my ass a little bit. And yeah, she does the bubble thing. She doesn't want anything to hurt her kids, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I think where we kind of fall off the rails on that part of it is life doesn't care about your bubble.
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to happen is one of these kids gets said no to at something like I'm not going to prom with you, and then they're shooting up school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that's an extreme example, but that's one thing that scares me. Like, I don't want them to. I want them to be successful and happy and just go do great things, and I know they're going to. I just also want them to fall on their face a few times,
Yeah, I mean,
so they know what it's like, and they're like, "Oh, that wasn't that bad. I can deal with that."
yeah, I mean, I hate to say this analogy, but I am. You kind of want to take the vaccine route. So you're like, what does that mean? That means expose them a little bit to something.
Mm-hmm.
That way they can build up an immunity to it. So
Okay,
you don't want
yeah.
them to have a total, like you said, a bubble wrap where when you get older and it's too late to make that adjustment, and
Right.
like you said, shoot up a school or get too mad at something that you should be able to brush off.
Right.
Expose them to a little bit of a messed up situation and help them build up an immunity at a young age to it. That way, when it really does happen,
Give them life light. There you go. Yeah, I mean it's it's
vaccine.
Because, I mean, and I don't know if we had that experience when we were younger. I don't think I did. I had to grow up real quick because everyone's dead now.
Yeah.
So, I'm 37. I've been doing the whole on my own thing since I've been 18.
Yeah.
And, you kind of got really shoved into it. Now, you learn certain things as a kiddo and certain life lessons, but, my quote-unquote kind of father figure, I mean, he died when I was like 12, so I'm not real good at man shit. It just is what it is. Tiff, bad bitch. She does all the things. I'm like, I can't do any of these things. Like, just in general, she's just a very impressive person. But, yeah, I mean.
Now, on the reverse of that, do you think this is something that Tiff developed on her own, or is it a result of her parenting?
I think it's probably a hybrid. I mean, we've had conversations like
Okay.
that. I mean, I'm not going to speak on her behalf, but I definitely think she is a product of the whole initial, statement we made of I want my kids to have a better life than I did.
Yes.
And yes, like 10 times over, she has done that.
Yes.
Very well. So, yeah, I mean, so we covered the past, we covered the present. Here's my worries about the future, because you kind of already touched on it, and I didn't really jump in because I wanted to kind of save it for this part. I think that, well, let's just put it this way. Kids are pussies now. And
wow. Good way to put it. No, just based off of the trajectory that it's been going on, or the same pattern,
right.
As the years go on, they're going to get softer
and
softer and softer. I mean, and they're just going to be offended by, hey, go clean your room. Oh my God, what did he say to me?
Right.
Like, that's just insane.
Right. And it's obviously it's a bit of an extreme example, but is it? Because I think that's also probably why I'm harder on my kids than I probably should be.
Yeah.
But like, I'm almost trying to like catch up, or not catch up, but counteract just the general everybody gets a trophy thing. And this isn't what this is going to be about. It's not like the whole everyone gets a trophy, everyone's included. That's fine. Whatever. That could be a conversation for a different day. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, because it's not just the kids that are very soft; it's everything else around them is real soft. So
the society that allows it to happen, the society that encourages it.
Well, here's my thing. So if that's the case, do I really need to be that militant and hard to try to instill life is hard? Because if
it's not going to be hard by the time you get to it,
right? But I don't know. I just can't see, at the end of the day, like getting a job, getting fired from a job. That I don't care how soft society is. They can say it in the nicest way, but now you can't fucking pay your rent. So sorry, it's a bad situation. What are you gonna do? I don't. It scares me, man. It really, honestly scares me, because I don't know what they're going into. Like, generally, you're supposed to have an idea, like, what you're sending your seed into, right?
Yeah.
And you just look, and current climate of, let's just kind of call it as it is. A lot of, people that have voices that probably shouldn't have voices, we'll keep it vague. They had a run for a while, and that changed things. That took us back 40 years. And now, everybody has a voice, which is perfectly fine. Like, everyone should have a voice, except racist people. Fuck those guys. But in general. Like, I'm trying not to, like, go political here, but
Yeah.
I'm also like, dude, seriously, this is what we're dealing with now. All right, great. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect, and I wish I had like a Magic 8 Ball where I could say, "Hey, look, take this lesson, take this lesson, take this lesson. The other ones, don't worry about it. It's fine." But I just, I'm one of those actual parents that like being a parent.
Okay.
I don't. They're not just tax breaks. You know, it's a lot.
That's a good perk, though.
I mean, no, they're not gonna lie. A lot of folks just kind of shoot out, tax breaks, and that's what they do.
Like, my income taxes is gonna be fat.
Right.
If I lay my ass on my back and have another child. Let me ask you a serious question, though. It relates to parenting.
Yeah.
When Will and Ruben and when they do grow up and they become parents themselves, do you think they're going to take from the lessons that you taught them? And if they do, what do you think they're going to say? My dad was a dad that, and you fill in the blank.
He had a very big penis. No, so I would. That's actually really cool. I like that. I like that question.
I mean, like, would he raise his children the same way you did, or would he put some of your stuff to the side? And of course, everyone wants to be their own man. You don't want to raise someone exactly the way you.
He better take a mixture. If he's going to take stuff, it better be a mixture of me and Tiff. If he just goes one way or the other, he's severely hampering himself. And if we're like,
oh no, I mean, it's gonna definitely take parenting from both of you. But I'm just saying, like, what is that? Like, what is that? What is the message that he's gonna try to put into his children?
If he thinks back, so I'll answer this in kind of two different ways. So,
okay,
if he looks back and it's like a fill in the blank, I want him to say, "My dad was hard but fair."
Excellent.
And he loved me and respected me, but he didn't lie to me.
Yeah.
And I would expect, honestly, from both of them, because I have no doubt this would happen, honestly, once they finally do that and become parents. I think they're going to instill the values of, I want you to be honest. I want you to be able to talk to me.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide stuff from me. We can talk like people.
Yeah.
We're not friends. Understand that.
Yeah.
Because
definitely have to set that standard.
A lot of parents try to be friends. I'm like, we are not friends. Like, I love you. I will kill or be killed for you, but we're not friends. Which is like the weirdest statement. But
I've seen too many women that are best friends with their daughters, and they're out in public and they might get into an argument. They might even fight, like, in public, and there is a mother and a daughter, and you can clearly see the standard was set as, this is one of my homies or one of my friends, as opposed to there was never a line drawn in the sand like, I am your mother.
It's not even because you don't want to be. It's just you can't do that, because then that becomes a clouded, weird thing, because your friends get away with stuff. You tend to be biased to your friends. You tend to, you do things like that because people are weird and we're broken, and we can't. Our brains are super crazy functional, but not, because we're idiots a lot of the time.
I just think your level of rebellion is very high, because it's like, when you're talking to a friend, you're like, man, you can't tell me what to do, But if it's your mother, like, there should be something that instinctual that just says, this is my mother telling me, and whether I agree or not, I need to accept or respect, her opinion.
I will literally tell you something that happened today. It wasn't a cough, but yeah. I could edit that. I could edit that out, but no, I'm not doing it. So the kid, he cracked his TV upstairs with with his guitar.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you really do that, or did you get pissed off and break something? Went upstairs. No, he really just seemingly he poked it with the neck of the guitar and
it cracked.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, it sucks, man.
Flimsy.
So I went up there and Tiff explained to him, don't worry, it's a man thing. You just have to go like check it out because we're Neanderthals. So came back down. I was like, yeah, he surely fucking did it. Yep, that sucks. He didn't like. This isn't a lie. He really did it. And like within the 30 seconds that I went upstairs and came back downstairs, Tiff already told him that, don't worry, we're gonna buy we'll buy a new TV. I was like, what? Like, no, he should buy it.
Or he's going to suffer a little bit so he knows what it feels to not to go without.
Right. Like, I'm like, well, he has to get money to go. There you go. That's something to work for there.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, too late. I already told him. I'm like, would you write a fucking contract?
You could quickly untell him just as quick as you told him.
Right. So I was like, at least make him do half. Like, go half on it.
Yeah.
Right. That seems at least fair. Like, obviously it was an accident, but still, I mean, if it was Ruben, it's different.
Yeah.
Sorry, there is not a
like he's not gonna.
There's not a double standard there.
Child labor laws. Like
See what I did there? You'll see what that means later. But yeah, I mean, I just figured, okay, and here's this. That's whatever. That's the whole preface of the story. That part doesn't really actually matter.
Okay.
So currently, he's having a hard time finding a job because no one's hiring, but they're hiring. It's one of those weird things.
Yeah.
And he's freaking out, and I don't want him to be worried, but I'm also like, good. And this is a part of life. This is where you have, like, this is a cool lesson that you get to deal with. This is like adult stuff that you have to worry about.
And on top of that, people cherish and respect things and items that they work for themselves as opposed to just being given.
That's exactly one of the things I told Tiff. I was like, he'll appreciate it more if he actually spends his money. Not saying he didn't appreciate it, but it was an accident. Shit happens. It's fine. Yeah. But here's the super impressive part, and I don't know why it's impressive. Well, I guess I do know why, but it's just a weird thing to be impressed by. So he came back from the gym, and he was talking to Tiff. He's worried about the jobs, yada, yada, yada. He's like, I gotta buy this TV and everything. I was like, wow, like he's really like taking responsibility and saying, yeah, I need to buy myself this TV. And I was just like, damn, good job, man. Because it was just like, and it's funny because now I'm almost like, well, now I don't even want you to pay for it. The fact that you were able to acknowledge it and kind of have that adult brain about it.
And adjust and adapt your mindset
and
that this
like,
was
now I got to take care of this. This is something I have to handle.
This is now your project,
Right. And I'm just like, hell yeah, man. I love the growth.
Yeah.
And I guess to kind of put a nail in this kind of coffin of the whole future thing, because we are running a little bit late here. I feel like I'm trying to prepare my kids to not be a part of the status quo that I feel like is going to be this soft, everything is okay, because not everything is okay, and money just isn't going to manifest itself because
you're teaching them to be contrarians.
Right.
Don't go with the grain.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I just want to be prepared, man. I'd be prepared for everything. Don't expect handouts because they don't happen. So yeah. I mean, I could go on for years with this whole thing, but
I mean, just for me to touch base as far as what I want my kids to say about me or my son when he's parenting, his children, is that, like you said, kind of similar to what you said. He's going to know that I never lied to him.
Yeah.
I was open and honest, and I would hope that he would try to instill that to his children, to be open and honest. And like you said, that I, showed that I love him as well. And pretty much that, treat people, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get a little bit of mix from his mother as well. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Respect people.
Yeah.
You have to go into a situation expecting the good in someone.
Right. You don't have to go in like Rambo all the damn time either, and that's something I got to work on because I'm just
I think that's an ongoing thing because I tend to walk in. I ain't gonna say walk into a relationship, but I tend when I meet people, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm thinking to myself, you have ill will until you prove to me that you're a positive person.
Right.
And I want him to kind of think the opposite. Try to see the positivity in people, and then if somebody rubs them the wrong way, then pivot off that. But
I say go in neutral, man. Like you just kind of go in there.
Observe.
That's generally what I do. I just go in. I'm like, either I'm gonna love you or I'm gonna hate you. So it's kind of your choice there, Chuckles. Make your move.
And we had this conversation before. You kind of make that determination really quickly too.
Yeah.
Like you don't really beat around the bush on.
I'm all about energy, man. Like, and it sounds all kind of hippie-esque, and I'm not that person. But if your vibe is all weird, not really. I don't want to. I'm not gonna play the game of let me look past your vibe and see who you. No, I don't want that. I don't have to do that all the time. I'm not gonna break through a barrier so I can fucking talk to you. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that gives me a headache. I think it was a good conversation, man. I think this is a good kind of re-popping of our cherry of this this podcast. I think it was a good idea. And this is going to be the format here, boys. That's what we're going to do. Our next episode, we're doing double standards.
Double standards,
and that's going to cover levels. So many things. We're not even going to give it. We're not even going to give it away. We're just going to tell you double standards. It's going to be a bunch of different places. So, strap in there, kiddos. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting ride. So, yeah. Sorry, you have a technical issue here. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. The cats tried to fucking destroy our whole setup here. So, all that activity happening that you're hearing in the background, that's not going to be happening anymore. I'm going to put them all in the dryer. I love them, but shut the fuck up. Daddy's working. Yeah, so anyway. The double standard thing, we're going to cover that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a bevy of topics we can kind of go on with that. So it's exciting, and that's kind of coming from Jermaine here. So good topic. I'm really excited to kind of go over it because it's a doozy. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun doing this. It felt different.
Yeah,
and I think that's
that was the intent.
Yeah, that was the intent. That was kind of the feedback we got from some important folks in our lives, and
hone in. Pinpoint conversation. So the shotgun no more, rifle in hand.
Yeah, it was good, and look, not for nothing. It looks like a lot of you folks are watching this on YouTube, which is awesome. So that really is encouraging to think like maybe we really should kind of get into the video format here soon, So, I don't know how many crossovers we still have. Hopefully, we're getting more from since we readjusted here. But just a little news drop here. We are still doing the contest or the giveaway on the Patreon. So, if you're not really sure what that all entails, check back to X's and O's, the last episode we had. Everything is explained there.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, dropping all the socials in the description. Keep talking. I saw my kiddo actually mention something about the X's and O's, which was pretty awesome. So, just appreciate any comments that are left, any concerns, ideas, whatever. We're open to it, but I think we're kind of good to go here. Do you got anything to end with here?
Give us a hooray or a yay on the machine.
I gotta press the button.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, what do I want to press? Nope.
No,
that's not the one.
I got that covered.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a soundboard and it's pretty. I like it. So I guess what we can do is kind of end with this.
This is Jermaine.
This is Rich.
You just enjoyed BDE Street.
At least you better.